All right, we're going to start up the meeting in about a minute there. Mr. Benesso? Bill, is there anything else you want to add?
No, Mr. Supervisor, I would just like the opportunity to respond to the public comment.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. We've got a couple of slips. First off, are any of the town board members have any other questions before we start with the public comment? Okay. We have Turan Diamond.
I have a comment, Mr.
Oh,
Supervisor.
Yep. Hold
Mr. Benesso indicated that the owners would consider putting in some landscaping where possible, and if they could also install a sprinkler system for the viability of the plants. Is that something they would agree to?
Yes, absolutely. And we can prepare a landscape plan for the town's review.
That would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Turan Diamond. Okay. Sarah Dillman. Hi, Ms. Dillman. Hi. If you come to the back podium there and give your name and address. Thank you very much. Bless you. Okay. How you doing? Name and
Hi.
address. Oh, wait. Dude, somebody help her, please. Listen. Can you lower that down? You're like on your tippy toes. I feel terrible. Okay, good. Thanks. Hi.
My name is Sarah Dolman. I live at 359 Randall Avenue in Elmont. And as a resident of Elmont, I find that a car wash on the east side will serve us a lot better than what we had before, which was the mechanic shop. With a mechanic shop, you find so much garbage. You get up in the morning, there's a car with a for sale sign, and it's just trash. Make the neighborhood look, it's just a monstrosity. And I find that the car wash will serve us better eastbound because we don't have one where we live. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other public slips to speak on this particular item. Is anybody who wishes to be heard that did not sign? Please, if you come on back there and give your name and address, sir. How you doing? Afternoon.
Okay. My name is William Lucas. I live at 20 Belmont Boulevard in Elmont. I have a couple of questions about the noise and air quality as far as the cars waiting to be serviced. If they're going to be idling, that's going to add to air pollution to the neighborhood, which we pretty much there. We have a direct airline lane goes over the neighborhood. We have Home Depot. We have the library is directly across the street. We have the parking for the school buses behind the library. They're in and out all day long. We have traffic on Hempstead Turnpike, which is well known. Other than that, down the street, we have an elementary school at the end of Belmont Boulevard. At the beginning of Belmont Boulevard is the library. You have a constant flow of people going from the elementary school to the library. Is there going to be a safety? Is there going to be any crossings that are going to be increased or changed for the people to cross Hempstead Turnpike at that corner to go to the library? And then the third thing I have to address is the servicing of the customers in the detail center. When the detailing is over and the customer hasn't picked up their car yet, is there an area for them to store the cars for customers to pick them up, or are they going to be parked on the street, which we have a parking problem in Elmont on the streets anyway? So, and here's something else. I have a little map drawn. We have Millennium Car Wash, quarter of a mile to the east. We have Squeaky Clean Car Wash, a quarter of a mile to the west. That would mean within a half a mile period on Hempstead Turnpike, you have 3 automated car washes. Other than that, that's the only thing I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Lucas. Sir, give your name and address. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gabriel Flores. I'm the I'm the corresponding neighbor to this proposed business. Um, I'm here representing my parents, the homeowners of 14 Belmont Boulevard. First time doing this, by the way. So,
Good job.
we are raising a little bit of concern towards the traffic flow, specifically on Belmont Boulevard. We currently have a lot of parking issues on that street. Also concerned about the cleanliness, and then the main concern is about the noise. I know that car washes can be rather loud. Speaking to the Millennium Car Wash on Hempstead Turnpike, there is a lot of traffic towards that area that builds up on Hempstead Turnpike. I don't want that to replicate eastbound. Being a business owner myself, I understand the importance of supporting local businesses. However, I do want to take the consideration of the local populace, aka my neighbors. There's a lot of children that are being raised on the street and throughout the neighborhood. I grew up on the neighborhood. I've lived in that same house for the past 20 years. I'm 27 years old, so that's all I know. I look for prosperity in Omont. But I do want to have the board consider, any obligation to the surrounding members and residents there, specifically onto speaking to the traffic on Belmont Boulevard. I, for one, I want to have my car clean, not only outside, but inside the vehicle. So my concern is people wanting to clean their vehicles, using up our property and blocking traffic in and out of our homes, not giving a way to safely leave and come as we need to be. Let me see here. Sorry. Yeah. I think the final point is that although it is a public road, I believe that the parking from the car wash or cars exiting the car wash may come onto Belmont Boulevard and take up spaces that our residents need to safely come home from work. So if we could find a way to circumvent that, that'd be great. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. I don't have any other slips on this. Mr. Vanessa?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Very briefly, addressing the idling, yes, cars will idle while they are in the stacking lane. It's just nature of the beast. Any drive-through has cars that idle as they're going through. That said, this is one of the biggest commercial corridors in all of the town of Hempstead, Hempstead Turnpike, that is. There's always going to be cars and exhaust from those cars associated with that. And, for those who live in close proximity, that is something that that just occurs. In terms of safety for people who are accessing the library, it's certainly my position that this will improve pedestrian safety, and the big reason for that is the closure of that curb cut on Belmont closest to the intersection. Whereas before, vehicles could turn into the property coming westbound, they could make the left on Belmont and then make a quick right in. That will no longer be available. So consequently, anyone from Belmont who wants to go to the library is going to have unimpeded, but for the 24-foot driveway at the rear of the property, which will really only be used by the escape lane people, because the people who go through the car wash are going to go right back out onto Hempstead Turnpike. But that escape lane, and maybe some of the people who leave in the detail center, they might go out that way. But I truly believe that as a result of that, there'll be better pedestrian safety on Belmont than currently exists, and certainly that would exist if the property were to be returned to a gas station and automotive repair shop. That is a signalized intersection, so no, we are not going to change anything to do with the crossing of Hempstead Turnpike. We all know crossing Hempstead Turnpike is not an easy thing, but it is a signalized intersection with crosswalks. Regarding stored vehicles, Any vehicle that is left there and not picked up in time will either be stored inside the building in the detail area, or if for some reason, and this would be a rare occasion, there's more than 2 vehicles left, there are parking spaces that are head-in parking spaces on the back of the building, and they would be parked there. But it'll certainly be a lot less in terms of vehicles stored on or around the property than were occurring when it was an automotive repair shop. If you have the site plan in front of you and you look at the aerial photograph that was taken, it was back when it was a automotive repair shop. You can see all the vehicles that were stored on site, and you could even see cars that were stored and parked on Belmont Avenue. There's no reason for that to happen anymore. That really goes to the last comment that the gentleman raised about traffic. Traffic on Belmont should be reduced significantly by this, because whereas before you could access the property from Belmont, now Belmont will only be an exit for the property. It'll only be an exit at that rear escape lane curb cut, and now all ingress will come from Hempstead Turnpike, and the vast majority of the egress will go on Hempstead Turnpike. So consequently, I think all in all, this is a much better application or a much better use of the property than the past use from a standpoint of pedestrian safety, traffic safety, and disturbing the residents on Belmont Avenue. That's our direct response. Thank you.
I do mean it. You do a great presentation, and you get right to the point, and don't dilly-dally with comments. It's funny. I grew up. Car wash is sort of important to me. I grew up, and we had a car wash. It was at 62 East Beverly Parkway in Valley Stream, and every Saturday I would get the pleasure of washing 5 cars on my driveway under the operational of Mr. Clavin, my father. So I don't understand why you're using the car wash that much, Bill. You really do strike me as the kind of guy who wants to do it.
I think I'm still scarred from Rudy Benesso, who was my father, forcing me to wash all the cars in the house
you say it's
on
hard.
weekends.
By the way, I just want to let you know.
Not just my mother and father's car, but my sisters and my brother.
Bill, my in-laws to this day can never figure out why I'm washing their cars too. I would ask you for a favor. What I do find sometimes is when you put up a sign, to keep your radio off online, that might help, especially.
Very good idea.
Obviously, these are returning customers.
Mhm.
This is a club, and the club members
And
are
maybe
want to be
the
respectful.
idleness of the cars that shut off, maybe you want that button, they override that button, maybe they can be quieter going in.
We
and
could
coming out
we could
that
certainly
way.
put up signage that indicates that you're adjacent to residential properties. Please respect that,
And then-
and no loud music, and avoid idling.
The parking on the street is like a no-go in reference to.
There really won't be a need for it.
that. Okay.
And look, you have the two neighbors that came. So
Yeah.
I'd ask you, regardless of whatever I do, and you're very good like this. And I
We-
mean, it's Mr. Benesso, if you could follow up them to
Yeah,
give the.
and be very neighborly and see what they're tuned to, because they're in the business, they're in their own private capitalist business, and that's a good thing. That being said, I know Laura Ryder mentioned that you're going to give us a fence plan and some irrigation and stuff like that.
And landscape plan, yes,
If you
we'd be
could
happy to
talk
provide
the
that.
neighbors about what they think and put a seat at the table, greatly appreciate that.
All right.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mr.
want me-
Benesso. Thank you for your presentation. With that, can I have a motion?
Yeah, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board accept the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Gentlemen, the neighbors, please grab Mr. Benesso's card. I really do mean it. He's a really decent attorney, good presenter, and his client's going to follow up with you to make sure we can get this in there and do a nice, smooth process for you. So thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you.
No, our pleasure. Okay, with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Administrative.
Oh, hold on, wait, I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry. I'm so excited about this. Can I make a motion on the administrative calendar, Madam Clerk?
Yes, so on the administrative calendar, we have items 8 through 46.
Okay, any member wish to separate anything on the administrative calendar? Okay, I actually don't have any slips on the administrative calendar. Does anybody wish to be heard on the administrative calendar that did not sign in? If not, man, do you want to speak on the administrative calendar? Yes. Don't be shy. Come on up there. You know the rules here. You know how it is. Come on, you're here every weekend. And good afternoon to you. And how about your name and address, Mr. Jacobs?
Thank you, Mr. Clavin. James B. Jacob, 568 Ashcroft, Uniondale. I just need a point of clarification on item number eight, and item number 33 and 32. Point of clarification for the four locations of the houses in Uniondale. On item 33, excuse me, no, sorry, item 32.
Okay.
They're on the secret report in the location, and is that in the Hempstead, I'm sorry, in Garden City Village, or that's out of the greater Garden City for item number 33? So appreciate that. Thank you.
With regard to items number 32 and 33, they deal with Roosevelt Field. It's a proposal to, it's a site plan for a hotel and a three-story medical building on the south portion of the property.
Okay, when you say Southport, is that facing towards the village at Garden City? Because my understanding, Roosevelt Fields is a separate entity onto the south, and that would be considered part of Uniondale.
This is considered, as far as our records are concerned, it's part of Garden City. The town part of Garden City.
You mean the village?
No, I do not mean the village. This is absolutely in the town of Hempstead.
Oh, town of Hempstead, I understand. Okay, then what about item number 8?
Commissioner, if you identify yourself, please.
Good afternoon, Supervisors, Deputy Supervisor, Board members. Mr. Jacobs, good afternoon.
Thank you.
On items in Uniondale for,
The location.
on item number 8, we have 369 Clarendon Road in Uniondale, which is an open and abandoned one-family dwelling. 899 Jerusalem Avenue, also in Uniondale, open and abandoned. That's a commercial building. We have 666 Lowell Road in Uniondale, open and abandoned one-family dwelling. And the last one that we have on this calendar in Uniondale is 683 Midwood Street,
No, we're not.
also open and abandoned one family.
Okay, so these particular properties are scheduled to be torn down or something of that nature, or they're still get taken over by, I guess, investors or something of that nature?
I'm sorry, explain what, I don't follow.
My point of clarification is that I wanted, because you have it here, that they'll probably be torn down, then the premises, building, the dwellings on that property would be torn down then,
Well,
right?
these would have to be surveyed before we go ahead and take them down, but right now what we did was we just secured them for public safety reasons.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Jacobs.
Yes.
Just a little clarification. It's the property at Roosevelt Field. This
Yeah.
portion is considered Uniondale School District, but it is the Garden City zip code.
Oh, okay, thank you. That, because we have this, not you per se, but when you do the Google Maps, because of the identification of that area, I just want to make sure that people recognize where they're at, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Sure, Ms. Madden, if you go on up there.
Good afternoon, Diane Madden, Hempstead. Item number 31, could you please tell me if those lawsuits are in relation at all to the animal shelter?
None that I'm aware of. This is for future lawsuits.
Okay. Oh, this is for future. And could you please remind me what is the settlement, top of the number, I should say, or what is the top dollar amount that you can agree upon in these settlements?
$50,000.
$50,000.
$50,000.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Anybody else wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? Okay, then can I please have a motion on the administrative calendar? No, we're doing the administrative calendar.
In its entirety. Make a move that we pass the administrative calendar in its entirety.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Okay, now that the formal town board meeting is ended, the town board will remain to listen to the comments of residents. We have a number of residents who signed in. We'll start with Paris Popak.
File. Thank you.
Okay, now I can say good afternoon, right? Okay. Thank you, Supervisor Clavin and the Town of Hempstead Board for hearing us, and thank you to all concerned citizens who are here today. I am Paris Popak. I live in Lawrence for 30 years. I'm a community activist. I used to be an elected official in the village of Lawrence. Imagine after all the meetings that we held in Lawrence and the meetings attended here with concerns about the moratoriums and rescinding of the TOD zoning in Inwood and North Lawrence. Imagine finally being heard and having the wise TOH board vote unanimously to rescind the dangerous TOD zoning in November, only to wake up to discover the judge's decision to reverse all that because of an error. So I'm not really quite sure how that mistake could have happened and how our safety was compromised, but we're hoping that you'll do the right thing. After personally investing vast sums of time, effort, and resources, along with the help from many others, I couldn't fathom how a technical glitch could allow developers to jeopardize the health and safety of all of us when you, the town board, had wisely agreed not to allow this in November. So I am here today to advocate, to prevail upon you to correct this technical defect as soon as possible and reaffirm your 11/19/24 decision. It seems the law was repealed based on a basic procedural neglect, and it's now coming back to haunt us. The court said the failure to properly document with the Nassau County Planning Commission invalidated the repeal. Therefore, the court claims the repeal is invalid. So I'm just here to say, please don't let this stand. I respectfully ask you to please rectify this. What will you do to rectify this? Can you simply once again repeal the TOD zoning in its entirety and submit the proper paperwork to the Nassau County Planning Commission to effectuate this repeal? The town should reintroduce the resolution with proper procedural compliance with a fresh vote to rescind the TOD zoning changes made 5 years ago. Given the overwhelming unanimous support the measure received previously, this passage by the board should be assured. Please do the right thing. You must do the right thing. You have the power to fix this. Please revote. You must revote to save our community for us and our future generations. Please help us keep our area suburban and not urban. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Popak. Next, I have Pearl Jacobs.
Pearl Jacobs, Uniondale. So Supervisor Clavin, we heard that you will be vacating your seat and will be appointed to a judgeship in September. I would just like to share something with you. Office of Deputy Supervisor established Town of Hempstead Local Law 50-1999, put into effect on January 4th, 2000, Town of Hempstead's administrative legislation. The deputy supervisor shall be appointed by the supervisor to serve at the pleasure of the supervisor, and in case the office of supervisor becomes vacant, or in case the supervisor shall be absent or unable to act, the deputy supervisor in office at that time shall assume all duties and obligations of the supervisor under the code of the Town of Hempstead and the town law of the state of New York, and shall continue in such capacity until a new supervisor shall assume office, or the absent or incapacitated supervisor shall return to office. This shall include, but not be limited to, the power to preside at meetings of the town board. In his capacity as such, the deputy supervisor shall have no vote on matters coming before the town board. Supervisor Clavin, you appointed Dorothy Gooseby, deputy supervisor. Can I inquire as to why she will not preside as acting supervisor until the general election in November? Crickets. Are you circumventing Dorothy Gooseby because you feel that she is incapable of performing the duties of Town of Hempstead supervisor? Or is it determined that she will not hold the seat simply because she is a woman of color? Town of Hempstead, stop circumventing democracy. Stop excluding constituents. Elections, not selections.
Thank you, Ms. Jacobson. Obviously, you must have some exciting news that I don't know anything about. I'll have to go home and talk to Mrs. Cleven about the fact that someone's told you this great news that I know nothing about. And then, as I said earlier today, there has been a lot of speculation about the announcements, and I will remind everybody, because the establishment is open for another hour, that today's specials are chicken burrito and beef burrito with a free soda tied in. And Reverend Millette and I are thinking about getting this right after, right, Reverend? Thank you very much. Next, I have James Jacobs.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Supervisor. No, okay, make a long story short, here's the thing, sir. What was put out there, Blue Mills, whatever you want to believe into, was that there was going to be a special appointment today. I know you're on the ballot on the Republican ticket for a judgeship, and wishing you the best for that, because I know you'll be basically a man of rule of law, and I understand that. But where my missus is coming from, where I'm coming from, Mr. Deputy Supervisor Gooseby is a civil rights icon. And if you believe in the Rob rules of procession, that when you step away, she's supposed to fill in for you. Saying that also means that if you're going to appoint somebody over her, we feel that's insulting and being very disrespectful. So my whole thing is that I wish you all in the election. Most likely you should win, because you got a strong party like that. And then the second token, if you do decide to leave today, I think the proper and decent thing would be to do that Ms. Gooseby take your spot, because she is deputy supervisor. Because every meeting I come to, you remind everybody that's sitting in this auditorium that she is deputy supervisor. And like I say, she's still right icon. I think she do proper respect. So that's my 2 cents worth. And also, I appreciate the people up there being very attentive, and they do listen to the people that come out their time from the work and everything else to speak to you people about their concerns and everything else. So do the right thing. Make sure Mr. Gooseby, Deputy Supervisor Gooseby, get the proper respect. That if you do decide to put the other gentleman in your spot today, to me it looks bad. Just share my personal thought. Thank you.
Mr. Jacobs, you're always very, very nice. You've always been very, very polite to me. I just want to reassure you again today. There's no announcement here, so I don't know who would spread that rumor about me. I'm trying to do the best I can, and I get it. No, we already know the specials, but I do appreciate it. And like I said, you're always a nice gentleman whenever I'm here. So next I have Matthew Buckies.
And the best for the holidays too, sir.
And by the way, seriously, thank you very much. I really, Mr. Jacobs, you always are a gentleman to me. You've always been very, very nice. And I've said this from the beginning. People are generally very, very nice to me. And I'm very grateful for that. This is one of the pluses. And you know what? You're passionate about issues, but you're always respectful. You're always very, very nice. And I do appreciate your kind remarks. But if anybody knows what the winning lottery tickets are going to be tonight, since everyone seems to know my future before I do it, I would appreciate that. The Cleveland kids would like that, but thank you. Ms. Buckies, go on.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew, or Matty Buckies, and I live at 1297 Shaw Place in Seaford. And I want to wish everybody a happy Disability Pride Month and ADA 35. Well, recently, I was a trainee at the Winter Center for Autism in West Babylon, New York. It is an honor and pleasure now to work with the supervisor and with the buildings department. Buildings department for that opportunity. Hiring people with disabilities should not be discriminated, and as such, we should be treated like people. In 1968, the town founded the Anchor program, which helped adults and children with special needs in that capacity. And with that, you could hire anyone from a 5-year-old with autism to a 100-year-old World War II veteran who has cerebral palsy. On that case, I would like to thank the town board and to Councilman Dunn for giving me this opportunity and the job at the center. My job coach, Tomda Vitebsky, or also known as Tammy, really inspired my heart today in getting this today. So I want to thank her for that, and God bless her for that. And I want to wish Supervisor Clavin best of luck in the county criminal court. I know you'll be working with Robert Bogle, even Howard Sturham, and one more judge. So on that note, everybody, please have a great summer, have a great 4th of July, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you very much. Thank you, Maddie. Next, I have James Dunphy. James Dunphy? Okay. I have Stuart Kroll. Stuart Kroll, great, Nick. Stuart? Okay. Jacqueline Pendel. Oh, Jacqueline, what's going on? Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Jacqueline Handel. My address is 275 Central Avenue, Lawrence. We are your people, and we worked to put you on this dais. We voted to keep you on this Town of Hempstead board to recognize our needs as residents of the Town of Hempstead. We are appalled that you would now have to reconsider bringing this high-rise, low-income project 1 block from multi-million-dollar homes in Lawrence. We are appalled that you would now have to reconsider bringing this high-rise, low-income, low-income project on a street with several single-family houses. We are appalled that you would now have to reconsider bringing additional income into the pockets of real estate moguls and the pockets of construction workers over your own constituents. Why did we have to find out in our local newspaper this week that you failed to comply with the New York State law by not seeking approval from the Nassau Planning Commission on the appeal of the transit-oriented development you passed in November? Who didn't follow through after you made this decision? Was it intentional? Why did this process not happen? We do not want New York City problems the way Governor Hochul wants us to build this development. The result will be us looking like an urban New York City dwelling. We are a suburban Town of Hempstead community, and we want to keep our independence as a small suburban town. We are your people. We trusted you to represent us and are extremely disappointed that your November decision could be rescinded now because of a lack of responsibility, carelessness, or thoughtlessness. We thought you really cared about us.
Next, I have Rochelle Ganack. Rochelle, how you doing?
Hi, my name is Rochelle Ganack. I live at 9 Boxwood Lane. My son Abraham Ganack lives at 251 Carroll Court. My daughter Leah Wilhelm lives at 250 Pacific Avenue. We are young families living in single-family homes, loving our neighborhood. We are opposed to the dangerous transit-oriented development in North Lawrence and Inwood. I ask the board respectfully to reconsider and revote to protect our community.
Okay, thank you very much. Shandell Berkowitz? Shandell Berkowitz? Okay. Kiva Lubin?
What's that kid's name?
Good afternoon. Name and address for the record. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Kiva Lubin from Central Avenue in Lawrence, New York. I'm calling to discuss briefly the news that was reported about the transit-oriented development. There have been 2 recent Nassau County Supreme Court decisions from Justice Singer regarding the proposed Heatherwood development project. The first decision and order was dated June 9th, 2025, and entered in the county clerk's office on June 11th, 2025. In the case, entitled Matter of 25 Wandsor LLC and 40 Bayview LLC versus Town of Hempstead, index number 616011/2024. In this decision, Justice Singer granted the petition to the extent that the court declared that the town failed to perform a duty enjoined by law, and that the town had failed to appoint a design review committee or otherwise process the developer's permit application. And the court also directed the town to form a design review committee forthwith, and for the committee thereafter to review and act upon the development application pursuant to the town TOD ordinance. All other relief sought by the developers was denied without discussion. This decision is not self-executing and therefore can be avoided. As to this matter, the town should decide upon the following course of action, in addition to submitting a counter proposal for the form of judgment. Promptly, after the entire judgment, file a notice of appeal to the Appellate Division, 2nd Department. Doing so will trigger CPLR 5519, which effectuates an automatic stay of the portions of the judgment which direct the town to appoint a committee and directs the committee to review and act upon the development. Consider a law to repeal or amend the TOD ordinance, which authorizes the project discussed below. The second decision and order was dated also June 9th, 2025, and also entered into the county clerk's office on June 11, 2025, in a separate case entitled Matter of 25 Wandsor LLC and 40 Bayview LLC versus Town of Hempstead, but under index number 621120/2024. In this decision, Justice Singer denied so much of the petition as requested that the court direct the town to approve the development project, and granted so much of the petition as declared that the town's rescission ordinance was null and void due to failure to refer the final text of that law to the Nassau County Planning Commission for review and recommendation pursuant to General Municipal Law 239M. All other relief sought by the developers was denied without discussion. As to this matter, the town should decide upon the following course. Petitioners have served a copy of this decision and order with notice of entry, which starts a 30-day clock running for the town to file a notice of appeal. The town should promptly file a notice of appeal to the Appellate Division, 2nd Department, even though doing so will not effectuate an automatic stay of the portions of the judgment which declare the rescission ordinance invalid. The town did so yesterday. Most importantly, initiate and diligently pursue the process to enact a new law to repeal the TOD law in its entirety without grandfather clauses. Since all necessary steps to do this were already done by the town, it would appear that restarting this process would only require a new hearing followed by submission of the planning to the planning board and voting by the town.
And I would ask you to follow up with the town attorney, please. All right. Next, I have Lynn Krug. Afternoon, name and address for the record. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Krug, like Krug Champagne, and I live at Weidler Court in Garden City. Okay, you've known me, I've spoken before. Oh God, give me a second, I just lost my connection here. Can I speak again? I'll just sit down because my cell phone went down.
The clock is running.
I'm sorry, my phone went down.
Okay.
I have my whole speech here. Could you give me a minute, please?
The clock has started running, ma'am.
Do you know what you wanted to say?
I'm sorry, I can't open my phone. No,
Laura, can you do it?
my phone went dead.
Can you just speak up?
No.
Yeah, I'll get it.
There you go.
Okay, I want to start my speech with something that I read. It was a speech by Robert F. Kennedy. Every time we turn our heads the other way, when we see the law flouted, when we tolerate what we know to be wrong, to the corrupt because we are too busy or too frightened, when we fail to speak up and speak out, we strike a blow against freedom, decency, and justice. Residents are as fed up as I am, yet you approved a zoning change where 58 speakers opposed and 1 speaker was in favor. Despite public opposition, this board laid the red carpet out for Blackjack Blakeman and the partnership with the Sands to bring Jake's 58 west to the hub. They will announce this right before the November elections and will try to bring back the 1,000 video lottery terminals from Queens. Currently, NASA gets about $25 million per year under the agreement signed back in 2016 when the Fortune Up and Belmont Properties proposals failed. Will you be the seventh supervisor to resign before your term is completed? My research shows that 6 out of 10 of the Hempstead supervisors were appointed, not elected. The voters deserve a choice, selection, not selection for the Hempstead Sound supervisor. This is the playbook. Everything we've had to deal with over the course of the past 2 years takes its toll, and the corruption we have witnessed has got to stop. On June 28th, you had a hot dog eating contest. Were you the judge? Was this a prerequisite for the judgeship, and were you that you were promised? Did you know that hot dogs are the #1 carcinogen and cancer is caused by them? So why would you have such a thing going on? I guess you really want to stop your people who are always fighting here and telling you to do the right thing.
Thank you. Next, we have Diane Madden.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. Is the supervisor coming back? It's very concerning because if there's been speculation, which likely has come from your side, why wouldn't he clear up the record? Because I'm curious to know if there's coming a point where he will be vacating the seat and who may assume that seat. And I would be saying this, as you know, better than anyone, regardless of which party. So I think it would be very fair, based on the fact that Supervisor Clavin is going to be a judge, to make a very fair decision regarding this issue. Because people are not here because of what may not have happened today, but what usually transpires and what will happen in the future. I do want to thank Joe Shinablo for being here, candidate for supervisor. And the reason why I say that is because animal advocates had to prop up Laura Gillen constantly. We had to give her courage, but she didn't really have any. But he's on here on his own accord, which I wasn't even aware he was going to speak. And that says a lot about someone's character. We had to prop her up, and he's been propping the public up and the animals. So I do give him so much credit for doing that. I'd like to speak about the animal shelter in 1 week's time. These are the things that I learned about. I mean, it's nonstop. My phone is ringing, the emails come in, my messages come through from out of state, from local people, and you get them too, because they tell me that they've outreached to this board many times about making some great decisions. Bring in a full-time, unbiased trainer, which I've asked you, audit the shelter operationally and fiscally. This would resolve and prevent lawsuits, injuries, and people from leaving. So number one, a cat was released that's dependent on a feeder. She was released to the wrong colony. That may sound like nothing. These cats get released to the wrong colony. They've got to figure out where their feeder is. They're not used to trying to find their own food. Number two, I foiled, how many dogs have come in from January of 24 until current date? 53. I think there's close to 800,000 residents in this town. Most of those dogs came in because the shelter was forced to take them in through evictions and because they were failed adoptions. Number three, a lost dog was, a person called about the lost dog. You still have no one in charge full-time of lost and found. Luckily, she ended up coming into the shelter. They kept telling her dog was not there. Number five, another volunteer was banned. You guys, I thought you were really much smarter than that. I cannot believe what's going on with this town, that you could even consider threatening someone with police force and to not enter town property. And number five, a volunteer was severely bit again.
Thank you. Next, we have Abraham Belsky.
Good afternoon. My name is Abraham Belsky, 16 Boxwood Lane, Lawrence. Happy July 4th, everybody. I'm here to talk about the TOD development. We have all heard the complaints of the people, which is a minority of residents of Lawrence. Most people are at work. On a personal basis, I wanted to say, I wanted to build an indoor pool on my property, and I was not allowed. Why would a developer be allowed to build multi-story homes in my backyard? All I want to add to this, that I can assume that if this project goes forward, your guys' political careers will be over. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. There's no one else on the list that signed in. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. If you could just line up, thank you. And state your name and address, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Chris Jacobs, Uniondale, New York. Supervisor Clavin, you held a press conference this past November and discussed Governor Hochul's congestion pricing. In summary, you said, quote, what you found most troubling was the sham vote that took place, circumvents requirements. There were a comment period that would enable residents to speak and be heard before this tax grab took place. Well, the governor circumvented this by doing, that's why I'm happy to announce today that yesterday the town of Hempstead, along with residents from Freeport, have filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court of Nassau County against the MTA to stop this congestion pricing money grab. The governor knows this is an unpopular tax. The governor knows this will go down. The federal government is given a chance. So she is jamming this through in violation of state requirements in an attempt really just to get money. It was an ill-conceived scam from the beginning, and the governor's attempt to jam this thing through is terrible. But most importantly, we're doing what's right. We're standing forth for the residents of the town of Hempstead, end quote. Very well said. However, I did not see the same resolute commitment to transparency when the town of Hempstead jammed through the rezoning of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum site into the Mitchell Field Integrated Resort District. Residents had no advance notice, no mailers, no public town hall meetings, and no questions answered by any of our town of Hempstead elected officials. That is one of the many examples where the town enacts their own standard of governance while holding the other governmental bodies to a higher criteria. Countless times the town of Hempstead chooses to forego a special election and opts to appoint officials, both elected and non-elected, into position when vacancies occur against the wishes of town of Hempstead residents. It is also standard procedure that when residents come before the town of Hempstead board, they are met with only answers from the town supervisor, while the district council members sit in awkward silence for the vast majority of the meetings, disengaged from their voting constituents. Today, however, some of you are talkative, so that's a pleasant surprise. Supervisor Clavin, at the end of the news conference, you said, quote, people see right through this. People want transparency. This is the exact opposite. This is what makes people sick of government. When efforts like this do not give people the ability to be heard. End quote. Going forward, I hope the town of Hempstead board adheres to the same standard they require of New York State's governmental bodies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry Belsky, 16 Boxwood Lane, Lawrence. I'm here representing my neighbors and my family. I apologize in advance that my statement is not as polite as Ms. Popak. I didn't have much time to prepare, but it's a very serious issue for us, our community, the TOD project. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman played a prominent role in pushing the proposal as a councilman in 2019. I have been focused on innovative zoning initiatives throughout my career, including transit-oriented zones in the Five Towns area. Blakeman wrote this in a statement to the Herald. I understand the town is considering fine-tuning the existing zoning code in that area, and I look forward to working with the town on zoning enhancements that make sense. As a resident of Lawrence for over 3 decades, I feel compelled to address this comment. I'm unaware of the individuals to whom he spoke. He did not convene a town hall meeting to solicit residents' input on this matter. Consequently, we, the residents, were not consulted on whether or how we desired to fine-tune our existing zoning code or enhance our neighborhood. We, the residents, who have dedicated our hearts and souls to making the Five Towns communities what they are and have invested millions upon millions of our hard-earned money in our homes, businesses, schools, and taxes, were neither involved, consulted, nor considered when this so-called innovative concept was conceived. Our primary objective is to enhance the quality of life within our community. We aspire to achieve this by addressing several critical issues. Firstly, we desire access to clean and safe drinking water, akin to the water supply in Far Rockaway. This would eliminate the need for home filters or the reliance on bottled water. Secondly, we strongly advocate for the repair and improvement of our sewer systems to prevent flooding in basements and streets. Thirdly, we seek the installation of more efficient electric transformers in our neighborhoods to reduce the frequency of power outages and brownouts, as what happened last night. Fourthly, we prioritize the installation of precise traffic lights and an increase in their number to minimize accidents. We emphasize the need for a heightened police presence to enhance street patrols and deter crime, even though our community is not considered particularly high risk. Lastly, we prioritize safety and security within our neighborhoods. The overdevelopment of our border in Far Rockaway has already resulted in increased traffic congestion. We are currently engaged in negotiations with the Woodmere Country Club project with a proposal for the 160 units. Furthermore, the Woodmere Academy project was initiated without prior consultation. The Pearsall project was approved despite our oversight, and we anticipate litigation that will halt construction. Furthermore, you have rescinded the stop on the project despite your knowledge of the necessary and appropriate applications and actions. We are perplexed by this decision and demand an explanation. This situation raises serious concerns, and investigation is in order to determine the underlying causes.
Thank you. Next.
Daisy Salmon, 81 Brower Avenue in Woodmere. Good morning, Supervisor Don Clavin and the members of the town board. I, Daisy Salmon, am here today because we residents of the town of Hempstead were promised that the dangerous TOD zoning change, one that we previously fought hard against, would be reversed. You heard our concerns and you unanimously voted to rescind the TOD zoning, including the grandfathered projects. In November 2024, you acted to protect our community by rescinding the detrimental TOD zoning. We believed we had reached an understanding with this board, that our voices mattered, and that our quality of life, safety, and environment were not up for negotiation. But now it appears that the very same zoning change is quietly moving forward again, only due to an error presenting the proper documents. To the Nassau County Planning Commission, this is deeply shocking, disappointing, and unacceptable. Really, it's unforgivable. Let me be clear. What's happening now undermines the trust of this community, your constituents. It places the interests of developers and political agendas above the people who live here. And it directly threatens the character, infrastructure, environment, safety, and future of our community. We are calling on this board to do what is right. Listen to your constituents, keep your word, correct your error, and make the right decision to pass the reappeal properly and without delay protect our community. The very people you elected to serve do not cave to political and developer pressure. We are watching, we are organized, and we're not going away. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeannie Cordian. I reside at the townhouse at Lido Beach in Lido Beach, New York. I would like to say good afternoon to the supervisor and the members of the board. I'm a little perplexed right now. I don't know what's going on, why the supervisor just left so abruptly. I've been waiting all morning to speak to him, so I don't know what the situation is for that. I was here a few months ago and spoke about the dilapidated buildings at the Sands and the horrible findings in the environmental studies that I have been asking for 3 months, and I still have not got the environmental studies. What happened is Joe came out yesterday, and all of a sudden, Channel 12 News has Brian Devine, a Hempstead Town spokesperson, saying that due to the presence of the asbestos and lead in the buildings as detailed in an independent engineering report, the town has already put a plan in place to carefully and responsibly demolish this building in the fall. The beginning of the statement, it says that due to the presence of asbestos and lead in these buildings, meaning more than one. The second half of the statement says they carefully and responsibly demolish this building. Well, it can't be one or the other. We have 5 buildings there and one big, huge pile that's overgrown, and quite honestly, we don't know what's underneath it. I last spoke with David on June 26th, and I asked for the plans for the 5 buildings and asked for the environmental report, which is entitled to me through the Freedom Information Act. I have been nothing but patient and polite, and I just want to have the plans in writing as to what you're going to be doing with these 5 buildings and the environmental study report. If you could email me that, David, I would appreciate it. And I'm sorry that the supervisor chose to leave. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir?
How you doing? My name is Joe Schnabelo. I'm a resident of Garden City. I'm here as a concerned resident, but I'd be remiss because it was already brought up. I am running for supervisor of the town of Hempstead. And I'm here also on a theme. I'm not speculating on any resignations, and I do appreciate my time separately with some of the council members that I've had to speak to outside of this building. I do want to say good afternoon to Supervisor Clavin. I do wish him nothing but the best in his judgeship from when he does leave this office. Deputy Supervisor Gooseby and the rest of the council men and women, thank you for providing a platform for us to speak today. But again, I am here as a concerned resident of Garden City. I'm also a Marine combat veteran. I'm a retired New York City police officer and a former prosecutor from Queens District Attorney's Office. And I'm here today just to bring up the practices of the past and make sure that we don't continue down this road. And I know that a couple other people have referenced selection, not election, and that's what I'm speaking on today. If there is a vacancy prior to, and I'd like to go on a record too, I didn't start that rumor. It wasn't me. But nonetheless, it's out there, and people have concerns about it. So if there is a vacancy, I implore the councilmen and women of this board to adhere to the town code and appoint the deputy supervisor as intern supervisor or the next senior council member. But definitely do not go outside the elected officials of this town board and appoint somebody who hasn't been elected to this board. To a minute, 10 seconds left. To Supervisor Clavin, I would ask you if you were here, do you plan on resigning before your term is up? Because it is a rumor that's out there, right? And the best way to get ahead of rumors is to address them head on. Again, for the record, I didn't start this rumor, but I'm here because I've also heard it, and it's of a concern of mine too. That being said, I do plan on having the chicken burrito today for lunch. So Deputy Supervisor Clavin, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And honestly, Supervisor Clavin, if you can hear me, if you are in the building, I do ask you directly if you plan on filling out the remainder of your term, or you do plan on resigning, because there are rumors out there, and the people of the town of Hempstead really do want to know. Thank you for the time. I do appreciate it. Have a great day and enjoy your 4th of July weekend.
Thank you.
The name Joseph Lipschutz, Regent Drive in Lawrence. We're here again. We didn't expect to be back, but Supervisor Clavin, I'm sorry he's not here. At any event, due to the court's overturning the town of Hempstead's repeal of the most controversial TOD zoning in Inwood and North Lawrence, so we find ourselves here again. These are the words that were said at the last meeting we were here in November 19th, 24. One of the things that was learned in conjunction with a very comprehensive review authorized by Nelson Pope and Burrs, the town's environmental consultants, there were a number of inadequacies with regard to how this TOD zone was ever enacted. Not by this board, this was said, but under the guidance of the prior supervisor, Ms. Gillen. And one of the things that was learned, and that was actually most glaring in the process, is that the notification requirements and the legal obligations that the town does have and continues to have in every instance with respect to notifying and reaching out and making sure there's a proper communication to affected residents and property owners were not met with regard to the enactment of this zone. So, Mr. Supervisor, with respect to the glaring inaccuracy and others, it's very clear that rescission that the board will now take as an action is not just appropriate, but must actually be required, because the zone itself would be null and void. And again, this is an action and a consequence brought about by a decision and improper steps taken by a prior supervisor, but something now, of course, responsible. This was led up to the repeal that was decided, done. We thought we were finished, but now I find out how, by reading it in the news item, by VIN News on internet. The Five Towns community is mobilizing once again following a Nassau Herald report that a court has overturned the town of Hempstead's repeal of the TOD. The ruling has residents questioning whether their elected officials followed proper legal procedures and demanding immediate action to protect their suburban community. According to the Nassau Herald, the town of Hempstead failed to comply with state law, and when it attempted to reverse the TOD zoning, the town neglected to seek required approval from the Nassau County Planning Commission. Procedure failure has effectively nullified the town board's November 19th, 24 vote. And then it goes on, this article, I'm going to submit this article for your, to be in the records, because it specifically mentions a particular politician who's involved in this original episode of 2019, when this 2,000 units, when this 73 acres of thousands of people.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
But I can submit this.
Yes, you can, of course. If there's no one else that would like to speak, I will request a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
So moved. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.